All right, Pete, it's not the best run of form for Liverpool over the past month. Obviously, losing the Carabao Cup final, getting knocked out of the Champions League, a couple of so-so performances in the Premier League. Do you think at this point the team's a little bit disinterested with the title locked up?
Well, you shouldn't be disinterested trying to wrap up a Premier League title. Definitely not. That shouldn't be anything that's on the agenda for these Liverpool players. Yeah, obviously it's been a disappointing run of form. I think the Champions League exit to PSG really hit them hard. They obviously had two real tough games against PSG, and obviously PSG prevailed as winners. And then they went and lost that Carabao Cup final to Newcastle, which again was a disappointing overall performance. Newcastle fully deserved the win, but yeah, again at the weekend against Fulham, just sloppy at times, real uncharacteristic mistakes from some players in defence, and obviously Fulham took full advantage, took their chances, but I wouldn't say they're disinterested or anything. That's just a bit of poor, sort of below par performances from some players, maybe looking a bit tired and fatigued after a busy schedule with the Champions League and everything else, and obviously the Carabao Cup final. But look, you're within touch and grasp of winning the Premier League title. You definitely shouldn't be disinterested, and I'm sure Liverpool fans and players will be just looking to get back on track and get that title wrapped up as soon as possible.
And one kind of bright light from that Fulham match was Conor Bradley, who came on and had a somewhat of a stellar display as a substitute. Is he starting to cement himself as Liverpool's number one right back next season?
Well, obviously this is the opportunity that Conor Bradley will be hoping for, as you said, with Trent Alexander-Arnold looking like he's heading to Real Madrid for pastures new. There's a slot open in Arne Slot's team, excuse the pun, at right back. Trent is obviously the first choice right back and has been for quite a few years, but Conor Bradley, as we saw last season and this season, is more than a capable deputy. The problem for Conor Bradley has been he's picked up a few knocks and injuries which have held him back and stopped him maybe playing more games for Liverpool at right back. But yeah, Conor Bradley, door is knocking for him now with Trent moving on. Can he go there and nail down that regular right back spot? I'm sure it won't stop any speculation over the summer that Liverpool will be looking to bring in a new right back to fill the void with Trent's imminent departure to Real Madrid as well. But yeah, Conor Bradley, he's in the box seat really for that right back spot. If he can stay fit, his performances have been more than good enough at right back that he can become Liverpool's long-term player in that position going forward.
Well, it's starting to look like there's a few more players who will continue to be in that Liverpool starting 11 with Salah and Van Dijk. Are those deals now pretty much done deals? Is this kind of like two £100 million signings basically for free in some ways?
Well, obviously it's closer than it's ever been probably for these two stalwarts of this Liverpool team to sign new contracts. Obviously, we've been talking about it on numerous pods about whether they would stay or go or not. But yeah, it does look like progress has been made with Van Dijk. Van Dijk's been quite public about it that obviously discussions are ongoing and they are getting closer to a successful conclusion. And it does seem an agreement is close to being reached with the Dutchman as well as Mo Salah. Huge boost for Liverpool to keep these two players. You really wouldn't want to lose three players of the calibre of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk in the summer, because they're going to be expensive players to replace. I'm not sure you go along with the new signings, but it's obviously good news for Liverpool that they're keeping two of their key players for the next couple of years at least. Although they are getting later in their careers, they still have a lot to offer. For me, look at Salah's numbers this year, and Van Dijk has been imperious for most of the season as Liverpool captain. So yeah, huge boost for Liverpool, and again, as you said, saves the money in the transfer market, because if you had to replace the likes of Salah and Van Dijk, you're not getting much change out of 100 million if you're looking direct replacements. So look, big news for Liverpool that these two players are going to extend their time at Anfield, and can only be positive news for Arne Slot and everyone connected with the club.
And with it looking like almost everyone coming back from this, title campaign, assuming they get it done here in these final 9 matches, does this put Liverpool back in the driver's seat for being the favourite to win the Premier League next season?
Well, I'm sure it was bad news for the rest of the Premier League title rivals with the news that Van Dijk and Salah are both staying. Would have been a huge loss to Liverpool to lose both of those players, and Trent, as I said, in the summer, because there would have been huge shoes to fill, not just on the field but I think off the field as well. They've got so much experience, and they are key members of that Liverpool dressing room. So if Liverpool want to be challenging consistently for Premier League titles and other silverware as well, you got to keep hold of your best players. Van Dijk's your captain, Salah is your talisman, scores goals, creates goals. He's been Premier League Player of the Season, I think, with his numbers this season as well. So yeah, it'll give a huge lift to Liverpool for next season if they want to try and be challenging again. And I think on the flip side as well, keeping these players will help convince possible transfer targets to make that move to Anfield, because if you're a player of interest for Liverpool and they try to sign you in the summer and they end up losing the likes of Salah and Van Dijk, it would maybe make you question, why should I go and join Liverpool? But keeping hold of your best players sends out the right signals that everything's on track. And as I said, you want to build around the likes of Salah and Van Dijk, and obviously with them signing new contracts, that's what it looks like it will be for Arne Slot.
And how will the likes of Man City and Arsenal and Chelsea potentially kind of feel about these two deals being agreed? Does any part of them feel like, maybe Liverpool's changing this transfer strategy and, throwing big money at older players that may come back to bite them, or now they're more scared than ever?
I think the immediate reaction from those clubs will be disappointment, because I'm sure they would have loved to have seen Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk leave Liverpool, because it's unquestionably Liverpool would be weaker without those two players, and obviously would then boost their own chances of sort of contesting the Premier League titles and other silverware as well. So I think that'll be the immediate thought. Again, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Will Salah be able to repeat his performances this season, next season, and the season after that? We don't know. The rivals of Liverpool will be hoping that with the players getting into their latter stages of their career, there will be a decline and a drop in those numbers. But I think right now, those clubs, those Premier League rivals of Liverpool, will be thinking, we wish Salah and Van Dijk had went, because it definitely would have left Liverpool in a weaker position. So Liverpool will be delighted to finally end all this speculation and get both of those big name players on new contracts.
And, of course, with Salah and Van Dijk staying, what now are Liverpool's top summer transfer priorities? We talked about maybe a new right-back to kind of challenge Conor Bradley. But what other positions and what players are at the top of that list?
Yeah, I think it'll be a busy window for Liverpool this coming summer. Obviously, it would have been even busier if they had lost Van Dijk and Salah. A right-back, I'm sure, will be something that the club will look at with Trent moving on to pastures new. A lot of talk about a new left-back as well, some competition and cover for Andy Robertson, who's maybe not been on his best this season. Milos Kerkos of Bournemouth seems to be the number one target. Maybe holding midfielder could be another target for Arne Slot in his recruitment team, because Ryan Gravenberch, he's had a great season, but he's played a lot of minutes, so maybe a bit of backup for Gravenberch in midfield. And I think a big question mark will be over Darwin Núñez's future. Will he be moved on? He had interest from Saudi Arabia in the January window, but Liverpool decided to keep him. But again, he's not maybe held down that shirt as a striker in Arne Slot's plan, so maybe Liverpool will be looking to bring in that number 9 striker. Lots of talk of Alexander Isak of Newcastle being Liverpool's top target, although that will be a very expensive deal to do. And one of the other key things that probably the Liverpool recruitment team will be doing, will trying to sort out Ibrahima Konate's future, because he's another player who there's going to be a lot of speculation about, as he is entering the final year of his contract at Anfield from next season. So yeah, if they can sort out, now that it looks like they've sorted out Van Dijk and Salah, maybe they can switch focus and try and tie down the likes of Konate to a new contract as well.